Hey everybody, welcome to a Friday bonus episode of Life After the Crown. Now, it is the new year, and all of you probably have goals and ideas of things that you want to do in 2020, and especially for you pageant contestants, you want to win, you want to place better, you want to do well in certain categories, and today I want to talk about swimsuit. Because I have somebody on here with me who is pretty much the envy of most of the pageant world when it comes to swimsuit body. She killed it in 2016, Hawaii, Miss Chelsea Hardin. Welcome to the podcast. Thanks for coming on.
Hey, Tim. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, my pleasure. So the reason that I have Chelsea on is because Chelsea is doing a new program called the Misfit Transformation Program. And I'm not doing this to sell her program. What I'm doing it for is I think there's a lot of you out there who are totally confused on what should I do? Like what kind of package do I need to bring to the stage? What should I look like? How do I get ready? What's the nutrition look like? What workout should I be doing? I know from talking to many of you in person that these are all questions that you have in your head. And Chelsea has come up with a program that really will help you to figure all that out. And so I'm excited to kind of have her introduce that. But Chelsea, let's just go back to 2016 and your preparation for getting on that stage and looking as good as you did. I mean, was it totally new for you, or was it something you had done your entire life?
Yes. So 2016, preparing for Miss Hawaii USA, I had to be very careful because my training that I've done for pretty much my entire life was training for volleyball, right? For explosiveness, for speed and quickness. And so that wasn't going to work for having a body on stage. So for me, yes, I knew how to work out, but I had to really fine tune that. And I even hired a personal trainer to help me reach the goals that I was looking for, which was to get long and lean at the time. So yes, it was not new for me, but at the same time, it was very new.
So what were some of the questions as you ventured from volleyball to pageants? Because I know there's a lot of athletes that tend to compete in pageants as well. What were some of the things that you had to figure out how to do differently in order to look right for a pageant stage?
Two of the biggest things I needed to do differently was how I was working out and what I was eating. So, both of them go equally hand in hand. So how I was working out for volleyball, I was doing like explosive power cleans and power lifts and Olympic style training. And so for the pageant, I didn't need, bigger, stronger muscles. I needed longer, leaner muscles. I didn't need a square six-pack. I wanted a long, lean, flat stomach area. So I really had to be careful the volume that I was training, the type of lifts that I was doing. And it was also about fine-tuning specific areas. For example, my shoulders, they naturally get more muscular. So I had to be very careful not to overtrain my shoulders. And when it comes to the eating, I wasn't eating to carb up or fuel up for a games day performance. I was eating to get shredded, for lack of better terms. I was eating to lose the stored fat and gain lean and long muscles. I had to be very careful what I was eating and when I was eating as well.
Interesting. Okay, so I think here's what I want to do today. So I worked in the fitness industry for 10 years. I was a host of a lot of these bodybuilding fitness shows. And so I had a lot of experience just kind of, that world's a little bit different. And obviously that's not the look that you're going to go for on a pageant stage. But I think the one thing, as I ventured into the pageant world and just saw how girls prepared differently from a fitness competitor was, I think a lot of them, I guess we'll call it cramming. I think that's probably the best word is, they wait till a month or two out and they're like, okay, now it's time to get ready for the pageant. Whereas, we're at right after New Year's here. I mean, this is where it really begins, if not even before that. So I guess talk about the length of time that somebody should be taking to prepare for either the national stage, which some of the state title holders are right now, or all the girls this fall who are going to be competing in the state pageant.
Yes, that's a huge point, a great point, because one of the biggest things that us girls have when we're preparing for competition, the biggest thing we have on our side is time. So we need time and a game plan. These are the two most important things that we can equip ourselves with. So a lot of girls ask me, how long will it take until I have a ripped body? And I tell them, well, if you're consistent about working out, dieting properly, and if you weren't, significantly overweight to begin with, then after about 1 year, you can expect to support a lean muscular physique with a visible six-pack. But most girls, right, they don't, A, want to commit to a year, or B, don't have a year to prepare. So truly, it does start about a year out. But I tell girls, okay, realistically, you should be looking at 4 to 5 months, right? So the first 2 months, you should really be focusing on your diet, avoiding added sugars, processed carbohydrates, processed foods, excessive calories from alcohol, and instead focusing on eating whole grains, lots of vegetables, sufficient protein. And during that time, finding out, and being aware of which foods give you intestinal discomfort, foods that cause you to break out in your skin so that you're prepared to come competition time. So you have, flawless looking skin, you don't have to worry about bloating, and you can feel good from the inside out. So ideally, I would like to say, yes, start a year out, but realistically, 4 to 5, 6 months is when you really should be focusing in.
Some of you will have 10 pounds to lose. Some of you will have 30 to 40 pounds to lose. You don't know. I mean, it just depends on how much you ate over the holidays is probably the biggest start to see what happened. But all that stuff that you just mentioned, I'm sure some girls are probably pausing the podcast right now and rewinding and saying, hold on, I got to take notes on everything she just said. It can be overwhelming. I don't care who you are. Nutrition can be overwhelming because there's so many different thought processes out there. And I think you posted something about a guy who had a list of I hear everything's bad. Lettuce is bad. Coffee's bad. Meat's bad. Vegetables are bad. It's funny, you just don't know what's good and what's bad. But what I love about what you're doing right now and what you've done is you've created a program in which you give them the blueprint, not only for workouts, but also for diet. So can you kind of tell everybody what it is that you're doing and how they can participate in it?
Yeah. So first off, when we talk about being in shape for a competition, right? So like you mentioned, every body is different. So everybody's body is different. Like you were saying, some are naturally skinny. Some have to eat more to put on lean muscle. Others have to put on weight, and then others naturally put on weight in their midsection. Others, like me, maybe put on weight more in their legs, and others are naturally more muscular. So you have to be very careful the type of training that you're doing. So there's no one size fits all. And with that being said, when you're trying to get in shape for a pageant, it's different. Like we talked about being in shape for a volleyball or basketball game. And for me, being in shape means having the best body for you, one that you feel comfortable in. And we can look at power, strength, overall stamina, cardiovascular endurance. But I think the best indicator for girls for being in shape for something like a pageant is your body composition, right? Which means the measure of lean mass. So that's how much of your weight is muscle and bone and how much is body fat. So for the sake of being in shape for a pageant, meaning looking physically fit, in shape, toned, and lean, means having a good level of body fat. I don't want to say low because obviously low, there's other problems there, but a healthy level of body fat is probably the best way to look at it. In my program, I customize everything for each girl's personal goals. So like I mentioned, some girls, are like the skinny fat, and some girls are too muscular, they have to tone down. So my program, it's not a one size fits all. It's this is your goals, and this is how we are going to get there. We're going to focus on, nutrition from the get-go. We're going to start resistance training and cardio, and depending on how far you need to get to your dream body, that is where the personalization comes in, where it's tailored to your goals, your current situation, and your calendar, and it's really catered to everything you need. And I know what it's like, right, to be in that situation. When I was running, I was starting from a different place. So having a personal trainer for me, she kept me on track. She held me accountable. She kept me going when in the end, that I believe was the difference maker. Getting that extra repetition and that extra cardio and that extra cookie that I didn't eat, right, because someone was there for me. Someone not only cared about how I looked, but my well-being, my mind, and my heart. And so I think the fact that I know what it takes to go into this preparation for competition, how hard and confusing it can be, this is why I love this program. It's because I can be there every step of the way with the girls in their journey to the crown.
Well, I love that. And the reason for you listening, the reason I called Chelsea specifically is because when I saw this, really two things come into mind for me. Number one, there are plenty of you across the country who don't have direct access to a trainer in your area. And so you're looking for, I don't know where to go. I don't know what to do. This is access online. So you can you'll talk to Chelsea by phone, but you'll also have online access to all these tools, if you will, that will help you to stay on track and know and have a plan or a blueprint, if you will, to be able to move forward and do it correctly. I think the other thing that's most important and that she just kind of hit on is is so important to have somebody who understands pageant-specific training. Now, Chelsea's obviously been through it. She's been on the stage. She knows what it's like. And, I talk to a lot of girls who just go to a personal trainer, and they tend to train you bodybuilding style. So they'll be like, all right, let's start lifting some weights and do this. And it's like, that's not what's going to get you in the best shape for a stage. So finding a pageant-specific trainer, whether it's Chelsea or somebody else, I think that's incredibly important. Now, the other thing that I will say is I'm a host, but I'm also a judge. And when I'm judging a pageant at a state level, I think one of the determining factors for me is, usually in the prelims, the girls come out, they do their opening number, and then we might see them in evening gown. But what really tells me how hard somebody has worked is when I see them in swimsuit or active. That shows me the level of dedication that somebody put into this, not just in the last couple of weeks, but maybe in this case over 9 months. I love to see, because that to me, that usually separates the girls who are ready to compete versus the girls who are not going to quite make the cut. And, when Chelsea stepped on stage in 2016, we all were like, okay, she came to play. She is here to win. And I think that's important to know for those of you who really want to win a crown. This is an incredibly important part. I know we put a lot of emphasis on interview, and it is definitely a very important, but I think, this whole body acceptance movement has made a lot of you confused on, well, gosh, can I go in a little softer? Maybe I don't have to work as hard. And Chelsea, you can tell me, I don't think that's the case at all. I think the better looking you come in swimsuit, the better you're going to do. I don't care what PC culture says.
Yeah, so this body movement acceptance, it is a touchy subject, but I think being in a pageant for the goal to win and become a title holder, it's about being just that, right? A person in the spotlight, a public figure, a person that many girls and boys look up to. So you want to give these people and give the world the best version of you. So you need to show the world your best body. And you can't be lazy and not bring your best self to the competition and use the body acceptance movement as an excuse, for a lack of better terms. So, right, what kind of message is this showing to the girls and boys who look up to you? So I get it. Some bodies are naturally built bigger than others. And if you think your best shape still falls outside of the standard beauty shape, it's okay. You're fine. You're still going to absolutely kill it because you have worked for a positive relationship with your body. You have put in the time and energy and effort into becoming the best possible you. I know that from personal experience because I think I mentioned this before, am naturally a little more muscular and taller and have a different build than, say, like a petite girl who might be running in a pageant. So I maybe to some might have looked too muscular, at least in the Miss Hawaii USA. Oh my gosh, Miss Hawaii, I looked way more muscular. But for me, I knew that it was my best body. It was my best me, the healthiest me that I could bring to the stage and bring to the judges.
Well, and one thing that I think I want to talk about, we mentioned kind of the length of dieting that you should do. When you try to crash diet, the 1 or 2 month out, how incredibly unhealthy that is for your body. Wrestlers do it with water weights. Pageant girls tend to do it with, extreme calorie cutting. And what that actually does is a lot of times can either make you hold water or even, in certain scenarios, gain fat. So what's a healthy length of time? We talked about maybe a year out earlier. And some girls might be saying, well, I can't start right now. I've got some other things I got going on. I never accept that excuse. So if they say, I don't have time to work out, what's your answer to that?
Well, my answer is you need to reprioritize your priorities. Even if you're not, going for a competition or a pageant, your health and wellness should be at the top of the priority list. Because how can you do your work? How can you take care of others, show up for others when you're not at your optimal health? So when it comes to getting fit and toned the healthy way, yes, absolutely, it takes time. You never want to rush or cram trying to lose weight. Like you said, it's one of the worst things you can do for yourself physically and mentally is to try to lose an unrealistic amount of weight in a short period of time. Not only can you cause irreversible damage, right, but you create unrealistic expectations and then you might end up beating yourself up for it. So I think a good amount of time, like I mentioned, is 4 to 5 months out. Start working those first 2 months and focus on your nutrition, getting a hold of that in the beginning. And then 3 months, really go hard on working out. But then again, everybody's different. So if you feel like you have a little bit more weight to lose, maybe start 6 or 7 months out and go slowly but surely, right? Like 1 pound a month of weight loss is the healthy way to go.
I love that answer. Here's my answer. Get up earlier. I mean, so many people, it's like I don't have any time in the day. Find time. I woke up at 4 a.m. this morning. I knew I had 3 podcasts today. I had a meeting at my church. I still wanted to get in a workout. And so I woke up at 4 and I worked out at 6. And some of you are like, you're crazy. I am not waking up that early. Well, guess what? Everybody wants the prize, but most people aren't willing to do the work. If you're one of the people who's willing to actually do what most other people won't do, you'll be the one standing at the end. So in addition to what Chelsea's saying here, I'm serious. Try to get up at 5. I know it's really hard, but literally, the moment you wake up, most of you are going to be like, I'm going to go right back to bed. I'm going to hit the snooze button and go back to bed. Here's what you do. The alarm goes off. You give yourself 5 seconds. And you just put your feet on the floor and stand up. Like, it's going to suck. You might literally be sleepwalking to the bathroom, but if you don't get moving, you will go back to sleep. It'll just happen. I do this all the time. When I wake up at 4, there are definitely mornings where I'm like, I don't want to get up at all. And this is really comfortable. My bed is warm. I don't want to get up, but that's probably one of the best ways. This kind of also factors into one of the other things that you cover in your transformation program, Chelsea, and that is mindset. Let's talk a little bit about what the mindset needs to be training for a pageant competition.
Yeah, really quick, going back to your point, one of my favorite quotes is by Arnold Schwarzenegger. He was like giving a speech or something. And he goes, my recommendation for you is to sleep faster. Because he was talking about like the time of the day.
That speech. Yes, that's a good
sleep faster. He talks about waking up early and really maximizing your hours in the day. But when it comes to mentality, yes, being in the right headspace is so important, because if you're not saying positive affirmations, if you're not loving yourself, right, how can you show up and be the best you possible? So in my program, I really talk about figuring out what obstacles are stopping you from getting to your best body, your dream body. How can you overcome that? I do a lot of positive affirmation work, having a positive body self-image, and really your relationship with yourself, or your relationship with food and fitness, and just overall health and wellness for your mind as well.
All right. So for everybody listening, you've heard all this and you're like, okay, I'm kind of interested in this program. So Chelsea, walk me through what that looks like. Where do they need to go? Is there a website? Do they need to call you? Just kind of walk me through how people can get a hold of you and do this.
Yeah. So you can visit my website. It's chelseahardin.com. So my first name, K is my middle initial, and last name, HARDIN.com. And there's all the information there on how to get started. What you do is you just book a call with me. When you book a call, that's when we talk about, all right, what are your goals? Where do you need to go? What's stopping you from getting there? And how can I help you? And if you're a good fit for my program, and if I'm a good fit for you. So once you book a call, if you're ready to go, we just get started via filling out some forms and emails, and then we set up our weekly one-on-one calls. I give you your nutrition plan, workout plan, and then you're good to go.
And to clarify, this isn't like a set start and end date. This is kind of whenever somebody wants to do it. It's not like it starts today and it ends in 3 months.
Correct. You're absolutely right. Whenever you're ready to get started, I had a lot of girls wait for the new year. I try to encourage, right? Why not start now? But a lot of girls, okay, new year, fresh start, let's do this. So whenever you're ready, your own time, and a lot of it depending on when your pageant is as well, right? So I wouldn't recommend signing up with me 3 months before your pageant. I would recommend starting maybe 5 months before your pageant. So that way you can build these habits and create these habits on your own way before, it's crunch time for pageant time.
Yeah, so those of you who are listening who are like, for instance, Texas, which is one of the earlier pageants, you need to reach out now. And then those of you like New Mexico, Virginia, some of the others that are, not until January, you certainly it would be good to start now, but you don't have to. So that's good to know. Chelsea, I always appreciate you and just how much you're willing to do to reach out to these girls and help them. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, Tim. And thank you for spreading the word and always being a positive person that us girls have you to look up to.
Well, I'm trying. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks, Tim.